My fifth and final tip for public speaking, for getting ready for an event is, what's up y'all, Shane Sams here, getting my morning routine going on as we get out here and run around. Just dropped off my kids at the school. I'm stopping at a red light now, so don't get mad at me in the comments from talking on my phone while I'm driving. But wanted to get on here today and talk about public speaking. I've got a big event next week. I'm doing a brand new talk. It's probably going to be in front of just 200 or 300 people, but we're preparing for an event down the road that's going to be for 3,000 to 4,000 people. I got to pitch something. I'm just working on some public speaking, working on a speaking gig. And I was writing down some things that I really wanted to focus on as I'm giving this new talk. You know, I love making a new talk because it lets me kind of start back over. I get the butterflies, I get excited. I don't know how the crowd's going to react immediately. And I kind of feel like it's my first time public speaking, which actually is a really cool feeling, but it's not. I've done this hundreds of times, thousands of times, get up there, do my thing. But it makes me review the fundamentals whenever I'm giving a new talk. Whenever I'm doing a new talk, I get to go over the fundamentals again. Like when I was a football coach, man, we get to make sure we're blocking and tackling and we're doing all the things that we got to do. And one of the big things that you got to do is you got to get over the nerves. You got to get over the butterflies in your stomach when you're getting out on stage. So I start looking at those fundamentals. I thought, man, how do I get on stage? How do I go out in front of people? How do I do a new talk? And I wanted to share 5 tips for public speaking, 5 public speaking tips for you to help you. Maybe you're giving your first speech or your next speech and you want to get out there and you want to do a great job. You want to do it at a high level. Well, I'm going to show you how I do it in this video today. So right now, I'm probably going to get pulled over. So let me talk to you when I get to my office. It is 28 degrees. Why is it this cold? It's almost springtime. It is a frosty morning here in Kentucky, and I wanted to let you know how cold it was because I am about to take, I don't know if you can see that, a walk. That's my first tip for public speaking. Before you ever get to the event, you've got to walk and talk. Walk and talk, y'all. You got to get your cardio in. I'm telling you, when you get up on stage, it's going to be unexpected. Like if you've done it once, twice, 1,000 times, when you get up on stage, everything's going to go elevated. Your heart's going to start beating faster. You're going to breathe a little quicker. No matter how many times you do it, you're going to get a little nervous when you walk up on the stage and you're getting ready to talk. You've got to be cardiovascularly in shape if you're going to get up and you're going to be a public speaker. You just want to do that. And a lot of people will run, they'll do their exercises, they'll walk, but speaking is different. You've got to talk while you walk so that you're prepared. When you get up on stage, you're not going to stand still. If you do, you're not going to do a good job. You're going to be going back and forth, left and right, up and down. You're going to be walking. Sometimes you might even walk out into the crowd. You're going to be moving. You're going to be a little nervous. Your heart and your lungs are going to be pumping and you're going to be excited, and you got to be able to prepare for that. So what I like to do, I train to be a professional speaker. I try to take walks. I don't care if it's 20 degrees. Guess what? The stage might be cold. You know what I'm saying? It might be cold in that room. If you're in a hotel room speaking or something, they might have it on 50 degrees and you're freezing to death. You got to be able to walk in the cold. It might be hot. Hey, if it's raining, I'm going to put my coat on. I'm still going to come out here. And then I will do one of 2 things. I will either practice my talk itself while I'm walking. I'll just walk and say it out loud. And people look at you like you're crazy. These people right here, they just look at them. They just looked at me like, why is that guy filming? What is he doing right now? They don't know what's going on. Doesn't matter. You got to get over your fear of public speaking. So you just got to speak in public. So when you're walking, actually say your talk, or a lot of times I'll just call somebody. I'll just call a friend or a family member who I haven't talked to in a while. Maybe I'll call a business contact or somebody in my network, and I'll just give them a call. I'll call somebody on my team. We'll work on something while I'm walking, and it lets me say things out loud. You can see, even though I'm walking right now, even though I'm moving around, I'm not getting winded because I do this every single day. So the first tip for public speaking that I'll give you is be in shape. Get your cardio. Don't assume just because you know the talk in your head, you're going to do a good job. You got to have the lung and the heart power to go out and deliver an amazing message in public from stage. So tip number 1, walk and talk. I'm just in my office here and I'm hanging out. So I got to get in here in my studio and turn on all my lights. It might go a little dark on me here for a second, but I'm getting ready to work. There's my workstation. Got to have that standing desk, baby. Got to have that standing desk, because we cannot be sitting all day. Speakers don't sit. Not when they're getting interviewed anyway. My second tip for public speaking is be prepared. I'm talking be overly prepared. be as prepared as you can possibly be. I'm about to fire up 2 monitors here because I want to make sure I'm working on my presentation. I'm actually getting ready to work on the sales pitch. I'm doing a sales presentation today. Never gave this talk before. So it's a very big talk with a lot on the line, a whole lot at stake. To make sure that the company is successful, that I'm successful, that everybody's doing their job. And, this is kind of like the first domino. Anytime I'm doing a sales presentation, there's only 2 kinds of presentations you can give, guys. Some people call one a keynote. Some people call another one a sales presentation. But there's only 2 kinds of presentations for public speaking. There's only 2 kinds of stages, period. And that is a stage you can sell on, and a stage that you are not allowed to sell on, right? So that's it. Those are the only 2 public speaking presentations you can give. There's a lot of reasons for talks, a lot of reasons for presentations. We call them prezos in the business. A lot of goals for your presentations, but you're doing a presentation to move some emotions, and you're either gonna sell something or you're just gonna say, you learned something. That's it. For a presentation, when it's new, whenever you're giving your first gig or your next gig, anytime you're doing a new presentation, you want to be wildly, overly prepared, right? So I'm going to sit down here and I'm going to finish this talk, and then I'm going to start practicing it. I've got 1 week before I give this talk. I'm going to probably record myself do it and listen to it every day. I'm going to take a walk and talk through the presentation every day over the next 7 days. And I also make every single one of my slides. I'll show it to you here in just a second when I get my computer booted up. But I don't copy slides. I don't write a script and have someone make my slides. I think you got to prepare by literally touching every element of every slide on the slide. That's how you remember your presentation. That's how you're confident, so that when you're up there on the stage, your heart's pumping. Not only are you in shape and you can handle that little change in physiology, but you are so into your presentation. You've done every single thing you can do to learn every word, every slide deck, because you've practiced it, and that's going to make it perfect. And confidence from a talk doesn't come from the talk itself. Confidence comes in preparation. I used to be a football coach. I was a head football coach, a defensive coordinator, an assistant coach. I had a career for about 10 years in the football coaching world. And one thing I really learned that's carried over into my speaking career whenever I do all my public speaking is that preparation equals victory. We won the game on Sunday watching film. We won the game on Monday installing that game plan. We won the game on Tuesday and Wednesday when we actually practiced in full pads. And by Thursday, the game was already won. We had everything. We knew what we were going to call. I knew every down and distance. I could stand on top of a press box with a Mountain Dew and a bag of Reese's Pieces. That's what I ever had for every single game. And I already knew everything I was going to. There was not a situation that could come up that I wasn't at least prepared for, hadn't thought through it. That's why coaches look so calm on the sidelines, is because they got a game plan. And your PowerPoint, your presentation, the prep for your public speaking gig is exactly what you have to do to win. I walk out on stage, guys, and I'm excited, not anxious. They are the same chemical reaction in your body. And with great preparation, you can have excitement for your public speaking gig and not fear of public speaking. You don't want to have any of that fear. So that's the next thing I'm going to do. Next tip is prepare like crazy. Just be over prepared for your speaking gig, and you will have no fear of public speaking. So tip number 2, do the work, be over prepared, and then you'll walk out on stage with confidence and let you see you do it. So I'll show you my rig here in a minute. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Here's a bonus tip. Whenever you're going to be making videos, wearing a beanie in the morning is probably not a good idea if you want to look great on camera. My hair looks insane right now, but that's okay. I don't care. I'm here to teach you something. I ain't here to look good. So you want to learn or you want to look good? I say we learn. Whenever I'm preparing my talk, I'm always got Chat GPT or some form of artificial intelligence to help me think things through. That's probably the only person I talk to is Chat GPT. I'm actually making some videos. I keep the Google open, you know what I'm saying? So if I need to look up any pictures or slides or anything like that. Pro tip too, the cool thing about, I got to change it to 4. AI programs, if you need a slide and you need to make some images, they will actually do it for you. You can actually just make pictures, but also look things up, pay for images, things like that. And then over here, you can see my slide deck. I keep my slide deck open on one side. I usually have my research and all these tabs open right in front of me. And I'm going to go through, man, every slide you see. I have made every single slide in this presentation, and I want to touch it. Even if I'm using some stock photos or stock things, I want to make sure that I am doing everything by myself. And I'm going to build every single slide right here in the thing. That way I know every word. Even if I was working with a guy and he had some slides with some text that I wanted to use this is a stock presentation. I'm like, hey, here's how you invest in the stock market, right? Even if I'm using quotes, like for example, let me find this quote about Warren Buffett. Warren's the greatest stock investor of all time. He deserves a shout out. I didn't copy and paste this. You don't remember anything copy and pasting. I had it open over here, and then I went over here and I typed every single word of that into this slide deck so that I would have a better chance of remembering everything that was in it when I got to this quote. I want to have touched mentally and physically every picture, every square, every single word on the presentation so that you can remember it, you can write it down. If you've got important parts of your presentation as well, like this part right here is the part I want to emphasize. I would actually handwrite that in a notepad. I got notebooks all over the place in here. I would handwrite it to make sure that it's just embedding in my brain like I'm programming. Over prepare, get a loan when you're creating a presentation. I don't usually work in like a coffee shop or something on a presentation until after I'm already done, because I want to make it by myself, and then I'll go to a coffee shop to refine. And then here's an interesting thing you can do too with ChatGPT. Sometimes people get really stressed out. I can't find the perfect image for my presentation. That's okay. I have a funny joke about insider trading, where insiders like politicians and CEOs are trading. So I'll make this joke. Are the rats getting on the ship or are they jumping off it? That's how we want to do our investing. We want to watch what the rats are doing. So it's just a little joke, taking a jab at CEOs and government politicians and stuff. But you can see ChatGPT made this image for me. It took me about 10 minutes to tell it what I wanted. I said, hey, I need some rats getting on a boat and on the other side jumping off. Maybe storm clouds on one side, sunshine on the other. So you don't have to Google every single thing and buy every image. Use AI. Artificial intelligence is a great tool for speakers, and it'll help you find exactly what you need. So you're not stressed out looking for pictures. You're just not stressed out because you're prepared. All right. So that's 2 tips. On to the third. All right, guys, I've been working on my talk a little bit, and now I'm coming in here to the kitchen to grab me a quick snack or something to eat. That's not a tip, but you just want to have some kind of like food or something in your life so that you're not getting tired. You got to be refreshed. Y'all know what I'm saying? Tip number 3 is get minimal feedback. Get minimal feedback from what you're doing in your presentation when you're creating the presentation. There's a tendency, especially for new speakers or somebody who's going to do public speaking for the first time. Maybe it's your first paid gig. Maybe it's your first time that you've been out there and been doing it yourself. What you got to do is get minimal feedback. You want to be alone and create your presentation. Until you get the first draft done, don't be asking people for advice. Don't be asking people for advice every slide. Don't be asking people for advice once you're done. That usually comes from insecurity. Am I doing this right? Is this the way it should be? Is this I dotted? Is this T crossed? Is this the perfect image for this presentation? Can't do that. You can't do that. You've got to make slide 1 to 100 or whatever you're doing on your own when you first make the presentation. It's like making lunch, man. Too many cooks in the kitchen spoil the soup. Y'all know what I'm saying? You can't have too many cooks in the kitchen. If you start asking people for opinions, you're going to slow down. It's going to make you more stressed out. You're going to have a great idea. Somebody's going to tell you they don't like your idea, but really your idea was the perfect idea if you just stuck with it in the first place. I do not show anybody my presentation pretty much until I'm done. About 90%, I might start running some things by some friends of mine who are actually speakers and actually getting paid to do this, actually have done a lot of public speaking, but minimal feedback until you get the first draft done. I'm telling you, you'll go faster, you'll enjoy the process better, you won't doubt yourself. Don't let insecurities creep in. You've got to say, hey, I'm the one making this presentation. I know what I want it to be like, and I'm the one that's gonna make all these first decisions. And then you can start getting a little feedback once you've got the whole thing intact. You can run jokes by people. If you've got professional speakers in your life, it could be a pastor in your local church. It could be somebody that does public speaking at their local, what they used to be called, Rotary clubs or whatever. Maybe you've got a local Toastmasters. That's where people come together and speak in front of each other. There's all kinds of different ways to get in front of people who speak in front of people all the time to get some tips and some feedback. But don't do it on the first pass. Minimal feedback. I got a house here in town that I bought just to turn into a YouTube studio and an office. And I'm here by myself. I didn't even bring my dogs. That's how alone I am. I don't even want to know my dog's opinion, guys. I said, minimal feedback. I'm going to create this whole slide deck Once I'm happy with it and I'm in my mind going, I know this is going to work, then I might get some feedback from some people who are actually speakers. Let me give you a tip here. Bonus tip. Don't get advice on public speaking from people who don't do public speaking, okay? That ain't gonna work, right? If you got some people that talk in front of people, get some little bit of advice back, but even that, be very careful. Until you give your first presentation, you won't know if it works. Let me just set you free. The goal is not to get a bunch of feedback and not to make the perfect presentation the first time through. It's to get your presentation done, be over prepared to deliver it well on time based on what the event coordinator said to you, and then do it. Then do it. And then when you're making that second draft, start reaching out to these speakers, start getting help, start getting support so that you can do that. I find when I get feedback too early in the process, even before I give the talk for the first time, I start doubting myself, because if that person says, I don't know about that part, then I'm not going to know about that part, right? So you can't do that. You've got to do minimal feedback, do the presentation, get it done. Don't doubt yourself. Have confidence and have fun with the presentation. It's way more fun to tell your jokes instead of what somebody else said would be funny, right? All right, or you're teach what you're teaching. You're the expert. You're the person who's getting up on the stage. So you be that person and you do it, okay? So tip number 3, minimal feedback in the first draft of the presentation. You're gonna do a much better job once you get out there on stage. Tip number 4 is I hate wearing hats inside. So I got rid of my hat. My hair's crazy right now. All right. But anyway, that's not really the tip. I'm just kidding. Tip number 4 is record your talk live. Okay. Now you might be thinking, wait a minute, Shane, I'm making this talk. I got to do it live in front of the audience, wherever I've been hired, wherever I've got the speaking opportunity. I got to do some public speaking here. I'm going to do it live and in person. Why am I going live? Well, or maybe you're going on Zoom. Maybe you're doing it as a webinar, whatever you're doing, you're going to do it live eventually. But you want to record the first couple go-throughs of the presentation live. Just make a video of it for a couple reasons. One, we want to try to get in front of people. I'm going to show you a couple tools that I use to go live before I go live. I get online. I use either YouTube or Facebook or even Zoom. But you really don't want to practice your talk just by yourself in the first couple goes. You want to do it live. There's a couple reasons for this. Number one, when you get out there and you do it live, you can't stop. You got no net. If you sit in your office or your house and you're all by yourself and you're trying to practice this thing and imagine the crowd, and you'll start and stop all the time. You'll be like, hey guys, Shane Sam's here. It's great to, oh crap, I forgot my line. Oh, Shane, it's great. If you get some people watching you do this talk, you can't do that. There's no stopping once you start the camera. You just got to be like, oh, I messed that up. Let me do it again. And you got to keep going. So maybe you can get some trusted friends. I recommend doing it on Zoom or something with friends, not like them in your living room, because them in your living room is the same thing. It gives you permission to stop and wait and hesitate. But if you're on the camera, there's a pressure there because you know people are on the other side and they're watching you live. But you want to do this live to get that rep in, get that practice in, see the actual timing of your presentation. Timing is one of the hardest things in public speaking. Like if someone says you've got 45 minutes, you may think you plan for 45 minutes, but once you do it, you're going to talk a little faster. You may stop in 20 and go, crap, I got to do some more. Or you may do an hour and a half and you're like, wow, I made way too much content for this thing. I need to take some stuff out. So doing it live is a great way to get your timing. It's a great way to do it without a net. It's a great way to not start and stop. And it's easy to go live. Like anyone can do this. And going live simulates those butterflies you're going to get when you walk out on stage or you get in front of the camera to do that live webinar or whatever it is. You want to practice this live. So let me show you a couple tools that I use to do this. One of the things I do is you can just go live on YouTube. You can see right here, there's a live button. If you've got a YouTube channel and you've got some stuff going on there, or you can go start a YouTube channel, you can go live on YouTube. The easiest place to go live is Facebook. I mean, everybody has the ability to go live at any time on their Facebook page, just their personal profile, or just set up a Zoom account. Just set up a Zoom account and have you go in there and set up a Zoom just like you would for a Zoom meeting, and get about 10 of your friends and be like, hey, would anyone like to watch me do my presentation live? It would really help me out, but I want to do it on Zoom. Just go on Zoom and share the link with a few people, and then you can go live in front of a safe place with safe people to help you out. But going live is a great way to get the rep. And it's the closest thing you can do to simulate the actual act of public speaking. So do a webinar, do a Facebook Live, do a YouTube Live, and then you'll be way more prepared and way less nervous when you're on that public speaking gig that you're going to do, okay? All right, I got one more tip for you, and this might be the most important tip that I'm gonna give you all day. Here it comes. My fifth and final tip for public speaking, for getting ready for an event, is what I call the Shane Sams 48-hour rule, okay? 48 hours before you get ready for your talk, stop practicing your talk. Now, you're gonna want to get out there and you're gonna wanna do work and you're gonna try to memorize it and all that, but I'm telling you, that's a mistake. You're gonna oversaturate your brain, you're gonna stress yourself out, you're gonna try to make last-minute changes that you didn't prepare for, and it's just not gonna be a good thing. Public speaking, people fail at public speaking when they go crazy in the last 48 hours, man, because you're getting more nervous. Listen, you need to go do things that relax you, man. I'm working on a talk right now. I came out here to this state park. I'm taking a hike. I got a buddy of mine. I called him and said, get in the car. And we're just walking around. We're talking about life and investing and business. And we're talking about our kids and we're talking about our wives, we're talking about fun stuff, man, that is not related to the talk. Give your brain a chance. Give your brain a chance to process all the hard work you've over-prepared. You've prepared yourself. You've got everything ready to go. You're confident in your talk. You're just going to go deliver it, right? So 48 hours before your talk, you're going to get out there and you are going to stop thinking about the talk. This is the biggest tip I can give you. Don't worry. We're going to look at the talk again before we go out on stage. I've got another video on this channel. You can check it out about what do you do on the day of the event to make sure you walk out, do great at public speaking, and you deliver an amazing presentation. But 48 hours out, get out, have some fun, let your brain relax, let your brain rest. And when you come back, you're gonna find it's memorized better. You got a better chance of getting out there. All the jitters are gonna be a lot less. That's my 5 tips for public speaking from a pro. Get out there, go give a great presentation. Make sure before you leave that you subscribe, that you hit that notification bell, and heck, go watch a couple more videos, man, so you can learn more about the stuff that I'm teaching. I'd love to help you with your presentation. I'd love to help you in business and life. I've got some coaching, consulting, and all kinds of cool things and resources over at my website. Head over to shanesams.com and check it all out. And make sure you follow me right here on this platform so that you can get all the information, all the videos that I release. Till next time, I'll catch you in the next video.